Hey everybody, welcome to HIT.OR.DIE podcast, episode 35. We're starting off the new year with the man himself, Mike Batesole, the head coach at Fresno State. He's from Garden Grove, Anaheim, California, went to Garden Grove High School, Oral Roberts University from 83 to 85. Finished with a 285 batting average, 31 homers, and 148 RBIs. 14th round draft pick by the Dodgers. Played professionally from 85 to 88. Spent time as an assistant at Orange Coast College, Cypress, and Cal State Northridge. He was the head coach at Cal State Northridge from 96 to 2002. He became the head coach at Fresno State in 2003. And he's entering his 18th season. Two-time National Coach of the Year, two-time Mountain West Coach of the Year, Big West Coach of the Year, 7 WAC titles, 2 Mountain West titles, and 2008 College World Series champion. Numerous draft picks in big leaguers, to name a few: Justin Wilson, Justin Miller, Austin Wynns, Doug Fister, Danny Muno, Steve Susdorf, Jordan Luplow, CJ Fick, Robert Fick, Cameron Lowe, Bill Murphy. Some first rounders include Adam Kennedy, Richie Robnett, Matt Garza, Tanner Shepard, Aaron Judge, Taylor Ward, and Ryan Jensen. Yeah, just to name a few, I guess would say. But that's another great resume. We definitely want you guys to go out and look at his bio. It's definitely worth a look. Coach is the real deal. Coach Batesole, thank you very much.
Proud to be here, guys. I've listened to a few of your podcasts. I love what you're doing. I love the message you're sending out there to the younger kids and preparing them correctly for what's in front of them. Great job.
What do you look for when you're recruiting out there for players? Obviously academics is very important to you and the program. So I know that's probably on the top of the list, but besides academics, what type of player are you looking for? Their mentality.
In a perfect world, we recruit character first. We're going to call the head coach. This kid got some toughness. Is he a great teammate? What's he like off the field? We're going to call everybody in our network that we know about him, local scouts, ask them everything that we can find out about their character first. Not really interested in their opinion on whether they can hit or throw or run. That's our job to evaluate that. But the things that we don't know and couldn't possibly know at that point about their makeup and character is number one. And we've really had the most luck with guys who've played football. They tend to have a little thicker skin, can coach them a little harder and push them through the grind that's in front of them. Coaches' kids, better instincts, been around the game more, think ahead, things that still win games in Division I baseball. Then we go to academics, and the reason we go to academics second is when you look at a kid's transcript, to me it's super important. Because what a good transcript means is this young man is willing to make the sacrifices that it takes to find a way to get things done. Doesn't mean he's any smarter than anybody else, but he's going to sit through geography class and history class, maybe get there early and do things right and get through something that he may not even like for the betterment of him and eventually his wife and his kids and as we go down the line. But that's what transcripts mean to me, is that this kid is going to make the necessary sacrifices and have a better chance of being a great teammate. Now, if a kid gets through those two things, in a perfect world, now we'll go see him play. So many kids eliminate themselves in step one, some of them in step two. So we've cut through a lot of guys. It's a crime what's going on out there today. I'm embarrassed for college baseball what some of these coaches are doing. And I'll call them out. I have called them out to their face. It's ridiculous to go see a kid in a travel ball game and call him on the way home and offer him a scholarship. Wait, what? That's why they came up with this new word about 10 years ago called decommit. It's insane what some of these guys are doing. They should be embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for them. I'm embarrassed for the coaching fraternity that we even had to come up with that word. So once we get through those two, you got a better chance now of seeing what you want to see. And when we go see them in person, generally what we're looking for is some lightning. got some lightning in his back, got some lightning in his arm. He can really run. Hopefully a couple of those, but not too many of them. We'll never see them. So you got to kind of push your way through that. If a kid's got all of that, he's going to Stanford or he's going to sign. So crossing him off the list. So you got to, not only once you get there, you got a group of guys at the top that you just go ahead and eliminate. So that's really in the order of what we're looking at. He's got to be the right person, the right fit. And that's the most important thing of the whole recruiting process. What I tell parents that ask me is it's got to be the right fit. You don't want to send your kid to a place that he's not going to fit. And the best way to do that is don't go out and spend $10,000 in summer on travel ball. You're a knucklehead if you're doing that. The best way to do that is ask your kid, what's your 3 favorite programs? If you could go to any 3, what would they be? And then go to their camp. Because now the coaches can actually work with you. They can see what your adaptability is. They'll learn your body language, how you adjust from swing to swing. If they give you something to work on, can you actually do it? And you get to know them personally and be around them for 2 or 3 or more days and understand their personality. And maybe that's a guy I don't want to play for, or maybe that's the guy. And that's really what it's about, is finding the right fit. There's tons of great coaches out there. And you want to learn how to hit or how to pitch, get a book. I mean, it's not that hard to figure out mechanically. But you want to be in a program that's got the goals that you have, so that when you're going through that grind every day, you're going to be happy while you're doing it.
Yeah, we've talked about that with
everybody.
Yeah,
I mean,
everybody's the right fit.
It's just like the confirmation.
Yeah,
you know, it still rings true. The fit is the deal. You know, it's not just what you see. You know, and like you said, it works both ways with the camps. You know, kids going to see the facility. They're going to see where they'll be going. You know, who they're going to be working with, who the assistant coaches are. You know, their parents are going to see how they respond. You know, you seem pretty happy. You know, it seemed like a good 3 days. You know, you're going to get a better gauge of what you're about to get into. And even, you know, like you said, your personality or you know, the pitching coach or whoever it is.
The final step in the process then is we'll have them out on a visit, which generally goes, we'll have them in a Friday night, go to our practice, we'll take them out to dinner. Saturday, we'll do the campus tour. They'll meet with our academics, our weight people, our compliance people, our trainers. We'll have a little tailgate. They'll meet with me for an hour and a half. We'll offer them or don't offer them a scholarship. We'll go to a football game that night. So that's why one of the big reasons why what our football team does and how they draw is super important to us and our success. And then we'll have breakfast in the morning and send them on their way. And for me, the last piece of the puzzle is evaluating dad. And if I got a sense that dad's got some toughness, dad's got some discipline, there's a pretty good chance that's passed on to the kids. If you get a feeling that the dad's soft and you pick up on some things, I've had kids in here for a weekend that we didn't offer just for that reason. For instance, let's say you're running a pick play on a bunt. Okay, if you're a base stealer, what one of the big cues is if the pitcher wipes or not. Right? Because who calls the game in college baseball? The pitching coach. He's going to suggest a pitch, but if he calls a pitch out or a pick, you're not shaking that. You're doing it. You're going to come back and dugout and say, "Well, I didn't want to throw a pitch out," right? So to combat that, what you do is every time you run a pick or a pitch out, you have your pitcher wipe. So now the runner, if he's a good base stealer, says, "Okay, he ain't picking, he ain't pitching out." There's 1,000 things like that, you know. And then what happens as soon as he picks? What's the hitter do? Takes a peek back to see where the catcher was setting up. If he's a good hitter, so part of that sending in the pick is you got to send in a pitch that's the opposite of the one you're going to call the next one, so the catcher set up in the opposite spot. There's a billion things like that. That's just one little, on a pick play, a couple of the thousands of things that you got to stay way ahead of the other team. You know, and calling the pitches and working through. I've heard a lot of guys say, well, I think catchers should call their own game. Go get a team and let's play. You can have a 19-year-old kid calling pitches. I'll steal 2 outs from you and 20 pitches a game. You're going to be 10-46. This isn't 1980 where when we played, you had 40 or more fall games where your catcher's going to catch almost a whole season to learn and go through. There wasn't these restriction on hours practicing. So he could study film and do all that stuff. Okay, here's what they have nowadays. We have about 10 weeks a year or so where we can be with them for 8 hours. We have about another 20 or so that we can be with them for 20 hours. So that leaves another, do the math, however many weeks we can't be with them at all. Okay, now we're trying to get good at actually receiving and blocking and throwing. And oh, by the way, I got to hit and I got to master the team defense. There's not enough hours in a day to do everything you got to do anyways. Now you're going to go watch film and study this hitter and watch this pitch that he took on a breaking ball 8-10 times. Where's his hands? Where's his feet? Okay, next pitch. What do you do with that? What's he doing with runners in scoring position? What's he doing without runners in scoring position? What's he doing on first base when he's running or he's not running? Our catchers don't have the time of day to study that. It's impossible in 2020, unless you want to break the rules and be illegal. But who does? Pitching coach, which we get paid to do. So Ovi can sit up there in his office and he can watch how a hitter takes a pitch 20 times if he wants and study and know. So I always tell our catchers, you can call your own game as soon as you know your opponent better than Ovi. Let me know when that is. So we don't have much of an argument there. But you know, and oh, by the way, if you don't win games, you're fired. So if you love your job and you're passionate about it and you're into it, like I love Fresno State and I love being the head baseball coach here, but I'm going to let this 19-year-old kid run me out of town and I can't pay rent. So if that's your theory, we need to develop these catchers. That's for minor league baseball. By the time he develops, I'm fired. He's catching for somebody else. You just don't, in 2020, if you like your job, it's not smart. Now, if I go back to 1980, and kids can take racquetball and they can study film, and we can play 40 fall games, and oh, by the way, after the game, I can keep him here for another 2 hours. Yeah, I'll get him ready to call the game in the spring. But you're cheating if you do that in 2020. So you can't do that. So now, if you like your job, you have them. We suggest pitches. We control the running game. Running game, even in the big leagues, managers control the running game. But having them understand and learn, and do we talk through it in between innings? Does the pitching coach sit with the pitcher? Yes. Are we teaching him? Are we learning? Because remember, what we're sending in as a pitch is a suggestion. And when they change it, just like any time any of my infielders do something different than what I ask them to do, when they come off the field, if they have a reason, awesome, dude. Even if it's nothing that I would have ever done, your spikes are in the dirt. You got a better feel than I do. I'm suggesting you do this or that. If you come off the field and you go, I don't know, or I didn't see you, coach. Okay, we might have a problem. But if you have a reason, well, I saw this in the hitter when he took that louder. Last time up, I saw this. Then play him pull instead of slide up or whatever it is. But suggest the pitch. And why is it a suggestion? Because from where I'm coming from, if it's not in the pitcher's heart, this pitch is what I need to throw to get this guy out or to set this up or whatever the purpose of this pitch is, it's not going to be as effective. So the pitch is a suggestion. The running game, we're going to control. We do all of our mechanical work in the fall. When we get to the spring, we'll talk about your mechanics next September. What you got is what you got.
Right.
Now it's time to work the pitcher and the hitter and the situation. Oh, by the way, compete. about fighting it out a little bit. How'd you like to be facing a pitcher and you know that he's thinking about his arm slot, his foot strike? Bring it. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So then you're going to be doing the same thing up there. Okay, my hand. Okay, and you're in a whole lot of trouble. You better be getting to work in the count in the situation. How about winning the game instead of my stroke? My stroke. Oh, I did this. Beat it. This is about us winning championships, degrees and rings. That's what it's about.
Yeah, and if I'm a hitter, let that pitcher get in his own head. That's fine. Think about it all you want. Think about arm slot. I don't care. Make that mistake so I can bang it.
Well, I was a power hitter, but growing up, guys don't use the back of net anymore. You know, younger guys, even the high school guys that I have, when I tell them, look, you got 5 off the tee, I want 5 off the back net. And they're mad. They want to hit the ball on the top of the cage. I'm like, if you get them on the back net, when you're in a game, your shoulder's going to dip just a little bit more, okay? Then you're going to get that launch angle that we're looking for. But if you hit the ball on the top of the net in a game, you're going to get that little more dip. Now there's going to be pop-ups.
F8.
So why aren't we, and I mean, I know you, old school, the back net, that ball looks good. That line drive off the back net.
Long line drives, guys can hit. Long line drives to the opposite field, you can play a really long time. Now, back to what you said. Soft toss in our cage, we try to get everything belt to not bouncing. BP, belt high, chest high, because exactly what you're saying, because that translates into the game. Single, oh, just missed it, double. It goes a little bit more. So if you're going soft toss and tee, I'll go recruit somebody else. You have no chance of understanding what we're actually trying to do as a team.
It's right center.
Hey, but the key is, again, I'm not trying to make you an opposite field hitter.
No.
Now, some guy, Ashford, that was his strength. We had to work a lot on pull start because everybody wanted to come in, and him, Corby, same thing. Lots of guys I've coached that probably 1 or 2 a year in the lineup. Actually, that's their strength. Luplo, that was his strength. Right center was his strength. Okay, so understand the normal guy. Well, the reason we're trying to get you to work oppo is so that you have so much success with that, they have to actually come to your strength now. The pitch coach is going to go, wow, he's ripped 2 balls over to right center. Let's try going in on him. Whack. Understand that. Okay? Here's one of my biggest frustrations as a hitting coach. Watching guys put a ball thigh high on a tee in the center of the plate. What are you doing? You have to practice that?
Yeah.
Go play golf. Go do something different if you got to practice. What do you have to practice that for? You can go hibernate for 6 months and roll out of bed and hit that pitch. Put that ball, a ball below your knee on the outside corner. Work on ripping that one. Until you can rip that one, you're not a hitter anyways. I can go to Buchanan High School right now. I can find 10 guys who can put a ball in the middle of the tee and rip it off the back net. Okay. That's the one pitch you're not going to get here and higher. What are you working on that for?
Yeah.
So we're strong on that. I don't know how many times, even still, though, I got to walk out there and push a tee down and push it out. I get it. Your first few strokes of the day, I'm just trying to find it a little, okay, now, boom, after 4 or 5 swings, let's go to work. But to sit there and hit a bucket,
that's not
middle
work.
Thigh high,
it's not work.
Oh, waste. You can go home and go to take a nap. What a waste of time.
Yeah. And I like what you said about, again, another way to think about it. A kid that, like Loop, that hits the ball, the other way extremely well. I mean, now they come to your strength. You can eliminate one side of the plate that may be not your strongest. Dude, you own it. They may not get you out all weekend.
And that's how you have, we'll use Aaron Judge because he played here, but that's how you have a guy who hits 40 or 50 home runs. If you throw it away, it's going over there. And if you throw it middle in, hit out of the Grand Canyon, it don't matter what ballpark you're in. He's made for Yankee Stadium. You know how many balls? Think of a big guy. There's always a 13-year-old or 6-foot kid in Little League, in his last year in Little League, right? And he makes the field look small.
Right.
And his line drives go over guys' heads or out of the ballpark. That's what Judge does in the big leagues. That right field porch is an accident. You don't have to get 60% of it.
Right.
But what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Do one of the others? So that's the reason he gets enough balls middle, and that's how you get a home run total that high. It says they have to come to your strength because they're tired of making good pitches that leave the park. Let's try something different. But if you can't do that, then they're just going to stay out there.
I mean, he even did it. That's why his home run derby was unbelievable. How many home run derbies have you been to or watched where, I mean, almost half of his home runs were right center?
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen that ever in the history of a home run derby, and it was with ease.
To the biggest part of the park, too.
Yeah, and it's just like, but that's because his swing is so consistent where he's just going off location of a 60-mile-an-hour BP pitch. He's not trying to pull a middle away pitch because he knows how to swing. He can go to right center. And that's where, at the high school level, these guys need to learn we can't pull that middle away pitch. You know, we got to work going right.
Team that we talked about, 08, it was like letting them out to recess. You know, it was like sixth graders recess, man, go get them. And they ran around the field like kids. But on practice days, it was on. I'll tell you one about that 08 team.
Go hit that, bud.
So we are, we're at the end of the season. I don't know if we're in playoffs or not. It's been a long time now, but it was at the end of the season, and we're still scrimmaging. We scrimmaged in Omaha. We had teams laughing at us. We're scrimmaging full on in Omaha. We had a couple of rain days. We didn't play. My hitters got to see some live pitching. We're scrimmaging. And they're taking a little BP in their turfs and walking up. Good. So we're scrimmaging at the end of the year. And I don't know if you remember Sesdorf, who I love, one of my favorite players of all time. But Ses liked to step out of the box on the pitcher twice in a bat. Timeout. Right when. So our pitchers have had it. This has gone on for 4 years. So we got one guy on the mound who'll actually do something about it. So Says calls timeout for I don't know how many times on Wilson. So finally J-Dub just throws it anyways and drills him. And Sesdorf comes over to me, the hitting coach, and says, if that SOB does that again, nobody cares, okay? If you're going to go. Can't get along, get it on. Okay, look, don't tell me about it. Meanwhile, I have no idea. Wilson's telling Curdy the same thing. And Curdy's telling him the same thing. So next time up, sure as timeout, ball gets thrown behind his head, and this is practice. He's running out to the mound, and I have two All-Americans fighting on the rubber.
In Omaha?
No, this was here on our field before we left. And can't get along. We just kept everybody away. You know, last thing you want is something like that creeping into your club. So finish it. And then when it was done, I grabbed Sesdorf and I grabbed J-Dub and I said, okay, you're pitching and you're hitting. You guys want to do it again? We'll all watch you do it again. So I went back in the dugout and he threw a strike and Sesdorf hit a ground out and we continued the day.
That's awesome.
Can't get along, get it on. I just scared 14 parents away from our program.
No, I don't think so.
All the right ones.
I hope that they love that even more.
I mean, that trophy says otherwise. No,
if you don't have some toughness and some thick skin, how are you going to fight through
life?
What you got to fight through, man. I mean, you get classes to take care of. You got to socialize. Don't forget, these kids have to go get a haircut, put oil in their car too. And you got a lifting program, and you got a running program, and you got a throwing program, and it takes some discipline. If it's not in your veins, don't do it. It's got to be in your veins. And if it is, you will absolutely, like you're saying, Chad, you will eat it up.
I want to know who won the fight.
Well, it depends who you talk to. Sesdorf will say he did, and J-Dub will say he did. But
maybe we'll put a poll out there.
It was on the back of the mound, rolling out towards second base. It was a thing of beauty. Now, for the record, I ran out there as fast as I could, separated them as quick as I could, and made them apologize to each other and write a note to each other's mom.
Right. Had him go right on the chalkboard and I will not fight at baseball practice.
I want to, since we just finished the decade, what is your most memorable? I'm sure you have tons of them. Especially your son getting drafted. That's got to be like a father coach moment. But what can you think of maybe as your most memorable moment of the decade? I know you have tons.
Well, I love these kids, man, and I'm going to tell you still 3 or 4 times a week. I generally stand out behind shortstop when we're doing defensive stuff. And I look in through the field and I see the stadium and I thank the good Lord that, wow, I get to do this, man. Still, after all this time, it's still amazing to come to this field every day. I mean, that overrides all the moments. I mean, if I had to pick one individual thing that happened, I would say, while we were on that run in Omaha, everything was going so fast. We had no idea what was going on back here. And when we're done, we get to go, we're in hundreds, literally, of radio and TV shows. Jim Rome show, awesome. We got a key to the city. We get to go to the White House and talk baseball with President Bush, who played college baseball. Phenomenal stuff. But nothing can touch coming through that parade and coming in the stadium with it full and the infield full, and finally, after 42 days, getting to share this with our people. Calling Sugar Bear down and let him do his thing for a little bit on the microphone. Calling Inman Perkins down out of the stands and let him do a cheer with all the fans, and letting everybody share, our people share in the moment. It's priceless, man. That was the baseball thing in the last 10 years, was just the community, our people enjoying the moment with us together finally. We weren't in the WAC tournament. We weren't at Arizona State. We weren't in Long Beach. We weren't in Omaha. We were in Fresno. That was good stuff. It all works together. I think those 2 years before that, I think we got the championship game of the regional both years. And it's like I was telling a lot of our guys on our 18 team, they were such a gigantic part of what we did this year, winning a championship in 40 games. The way those guys played, the way they went about their business, I'm 100% convinced was a giant part of what happened in 19. They taught those guys how to do it, and then they just bumped it up a notch. I mean, it all works together, man. If you don't have your alumni working for you and your community and your administration, every one of those groups does hundreds of things that nobody has no idea that they do, that allow us to put more time into baseball. It takes everybody pulling on the same end of the rope to get this thing done.
Well, we appreciate it. I mean, I could talk hitting with you all day. I love it. I'm glad we talked hitting, and
We're going to have to come back and do it again.
Yeah,
we didn't talk any mechanics or anything like that, any of the fall stuff. We'll have to get around to that. I'll tell you my favorite thing to do when I'm working with hitters, and I've started doing this with infielders too, is I put the bill in my hat about halfway up their thigh and just watch it works from the ground up, right? So just watch their feet, infielders, hitters, and just make sure that's all right. Then move the bill of your hat up while you're flipping them soft toss or where somebody else is. Watch them take 20 or 30 swings, and that's all you can see is their feet. And then all you can see is their whole lower half. And then mix the rest of the nonsense in later. But if you get that right, you got a chance, both offensively and defensively.
Yeah, there's like the ground up. I mean, that's the way I learned. That's the
Well, the thing is, again, it's not making it complicated.
yeah.
You know, you can give them a lot of jargon, but
The best thing anybody could ever say about your stroke is it's simple, because that means it's repeatable. And if it's repeatable, that means I can actually get to working the count, the situation, pitcher, this at bat, and figure. If you can't get to that point, you're in a lot of trouble. I mean, you'll see as guys go up in levels, less and less movement. And then there's another little switch once you're in the big leagues for 8, 9, 10 years. You'll see guys doing stuff because their bodies are old and they're changing and they're trying to make adjustments, and they got thousands of more at bats. You know, some of these plans that we use, I would never use in AA or higher. It's a different game. Okay. How many breaking balls do you have to make outs on before you're a good breaking ball hitter? Hundreds.
Yeah.
I mean, about the time you're in AA. Lots of guys in AA's who can tear up breaking balls. Very few down here. Just haven't failed enough. They got to work their way through it.
a lot of good stuff in here. Lots of good stuff. I learned a lot of stuff. I'm gonna have fun playing this one back. That's for sure. Coach, definitely thank you for coming on with us. First show of the year. We wish you guys the best in 2020. I'll be out. My daughter loves coming here. We will definitely be out here catching games. That goes for everybody. Get out here and support these guys. It's top notch. I think Stanford's coming here this year. There's a good schedule. I mean, it's awesome baseball. A lot of local kids. Come support the dogs. Anything else, Chad?
Nope.
He doesn't want to leave.
I know.
Coach, thank you again, guys. That's episode 35 of the Hit or Die podcast.
Thank you. Hit or die. Love it.